everyone, welcome back to Esoteria Healing, your channel for spiritual growth, and I'm Rio Kashyap, your spiritual coach. Today I'm going to share my experience of a UFO encounter. Now, ever since I've started sharing all of these experiences, my experiences with ghosts, with angels, and now with a UFO, I have encountered so many people, trying to tell me, why do you have so many experiences? Why everything is happening to you only? Why nothing has happened to me or to my relatives? And I'm aware that on a backhand they are implying that I may be lying somewhere, which is okay because as a society we have moved completely away from that part of ourselves, our psychic abilities, our intuition, our ability to communicate with the other realms, and there is a lot of fear induced into us via news, media, movies. So I fully understand where all these comments and all these messages come from. However, I want to tell you that each one of us possess psychic abilities, but most people never use them. So you never know that you have them. Everyone can develop those psychic abilities by working on them. Now I'm writing a book on spiritual awakening and how to recognize, enhance and work with your psychic abilities. It will be completed, I think, within the next month. And from that book you can learn a lot. So stay tuned for updates. Now, why do I have all these experiences? Because I am naturally very psychic. Ever since I was born, I used to have soft recalls of my past lives as a child, and as an adult I have had hard and soft recalls as well. Now if you want to learn what are hard and soft recalls, that is also mentioned in my book. And I've always had very sharp intuition. As a child I used to be able to predict earthquakes and such big things, and also small things like meeting a friend in a particular situation, and then that situation would show up exactly as in my vision. So all these things would happen to me, and I kept ignoring them for at least 25 years of my life. And in the 26th year of my life, I was hit with this huge spiritual energy that completely opened my channels wide open. If you want to learn about my spiritual awakening journey, you can watch this video here. So now I'll talk about my UFO experience. So I think the reason why I have been having all these experiences and still do have them on a daily basis, I think it's because I had to walk on the spiritual path, and that was my planned life purpose. And to make me come back to that path from the other paths that I was following, the only way to make me do that was to show me all these things, and that would compel me to go and search. So this happened when I was quite young actually. I think I was in 8th or 9th standard, and I still remember that scene completely. As a child I was very interested in astronomy. I got a telescope as a gift from my uncle, and I started using it every single night. Me and my dad would go to the terrace of our hospital and just lie down on the terrace and just put the telescope like this and watch the stars, planets and satellites. So that day my father was showing me the International Space Station that takes around 90 minutes to circle the earth and come back around and be visible again. We waited for it to arrive, and when it entered the sky, we watched it from the time it showed up till the time it stopped showing. And I remember that I was feeling so euphoric because I just saw this space station go by, and it was such a unique and such a wonderful thing to see, right? So both me and my dad just saw the ISS go by, and we were just lying down, watching the other stars. And just after 2 to 3 minutes, we saw another dull dot enter the sky from the same direction that the ISS came in. And I was like, but we just saw the ISS go by, what could this be? And I was just looking at it as it was moving in a speed greater than the International Space Station, and my mind started racing because I was still a child and I wasn't into UFOs and aliens or anything, though I knew that these things have been going on. You see those ads on National Geographic and other channels at that time, but I never thought that these things were real. And me and my dad were just lying down and just looking at this dot zoom from that direction. I don't know what exactly the direction was, but let's say it was going from east to west. There was no trail behind it, no fire, and it didn't even look like a rocket. It was just a small dull dot, and it wasn't shining. It couldn't be a meteor. So what could it be? And as I was just thinking what it could be, it stopped. It just stopped point blank while traveling at such a high, even at a speed higher than the International Space Station. It just came like this and it just stopped there. It was that moment that I realized that this is not anything human made, because at that time even drones didn't exist that commonly. I was in 9th standard and that was around 2004, 2005, around that time. And I could tell that this thing was quite up high, it was not as near as a drone could be. The next thing that I saw completely eliminates the possibility of it being a drone. So as both of us were watching, I asked my dad, "Are you seeing it?" And he said, "Yes, I can." And that dot was just there for a moment, just stopped point blank in space or in the air, wherever. And then it just did a few movements, like it went to the right and then stopped, went to the left, stopped, went to the right again, stopped. And it just did these movements, right, left, and it would just go at such a high speed and then stop point blank. And as I was talking to my dad about it, it just zoomed across the sky, reached the middle of the sky, and then it just zoomed out like zoom. And at that point, I just looked at my dad. I asked him, like, what was that? You are so knowledgeable in astronomy. Tell me, what was that? And he said it might be a UFO. And I still didn't believe it. And there was still like 70% doubt in my mind about that. I thought, okay, maybe it can be explained by something human made. I'll go back and I'll just Google and see. And at that time, we didn't even have proper internet. We had dial-up connection. And I thought, okay, I'll just go and search about what it could be. And I did, and I couldn't find any explanation about what it could be. And somehow when I was watching it, I felt as if it knows that we are watching it, because as we were watching it, it stopped and it just started doing all these weird movements. And then we continued watching it, and then it just decided to leave and show us this maneuver. And whatever it was, it just sent chills down my spine. And my dad, he was just silent from that point on. And I kept asking him, I kept bugging him for the next few days to tell me what it was. And he didn't. He just went silent, and he never went back to the terrace with me to watch the stars again. Never in his life. However, I didn't stop. I still took my telescope and went to the terrace every single day, but I didn't see that UFO again in my life. And then fast forward many years later, now that we have YouTube, now that we have so many resources on the internet, just a year or so back, I went onto YouTube and I searched for UFO footages, and there was one footage that really caught my eye. That was exactly what I had seen. And if I find that footage, and if I am able to post that footage on my channel without getting a copyright strike, I will post it, or I will include that in this video. So from that point on, I have been following the UFO community a lot, and I have been following a lot of people who collect all this evidence. And now we have the government completely admitting during 2020, the pandemic time, that they themselves have seen things that they have no explanation about. I mean, you can explain something that is going at the speed of maybe a fighter jet, or something like a drone, something that we can control. But how do you explain something that goes at the speed of many thousand Machs? And we as humans haven't gone to that point, right? So it has to be extraterrestrial. There is no other explanation. And if you want to get updated on all the evidence, I highly suggest you follow Secureteam on YouTube, and also watch certain documentaries that are available on Amazon Prime. If you go to Amazon Prime, just search UFO and you will be able to see some documentaries there, and some are available on Netflix if I'm not wrong. And just update yourself on what is going on in this world. And just recently, Pentagon held a public hearing for people who say that they had been abducted by aliens or they had seen certain UFOs. A few years before, the government wasn't even acknowledging it. The government was shutting down people who came out about their experiences. But now the government is accepting everything, because the government itself is experiencing things, and they have records, they have evidence of technology far ahead than what humans have. So now they are considering it a security threat and they are working towards it. The US has a whole department for space security. The US had always had departments for even scientific experiments on psychic abilities. They have been doing all this since a very long time. They just don't tell the public about it. But now things are seeming to change and they are coming out and they are holding public hearings on UFO experiences, and that makes me very happy. And I hope that during the time of my life we see all the governments coming out and telling people that yes, this is real, which they have already done if you just go and read those news articles. But because of the pandemic in 2020, nobody was bothered about it because they had 10 different things to worry about. And let me tell you, the government is never going to come out straight away and tell everyone on the stage that yes, this is real, aliens are here and all that, because that will send the whole world into chaos. That is why they are doing soft disclosure through these documentaries, through these little press releases, through these public hearings. They are doing a soft disclosure. That means they are letting the world know, but in a very soft manner, so that we are accustomed to this slowly over time and the world does not go into chaos. So I'm certainly quite hopeful for the future, but also a little bit scared because humans have known to use such things for destruction before, and how is the future going to be different? Because nothing has changed at those high levels. People like me and you are learning, are growing spiritually, and are trying to make the world a better place, but we still haven't reached a point where the whole population is that way and they select the leaders that way, and then the whole world transforms into a less destructive thing. That still hasn't happened. So I am a little bit scared, but it's okay. We don't want to live in fear, right? So if you also have had any such experiences, it could be spiritual experiences about healing, about angels, ghosts, UFOs, any such experiences, I welcome your stories in the comments if you want to share them, of course. And if you have a channel and you want to share your story on your channel, be sure to leave a link in the comments and I will make sure to watch your video and support you. And if you still don't believe in all of this and have lengthy explanations for why this cannot happen, please keep it to yourself, because I have gone through all that. I have already gone through the whole journey of not believing and then trying and testing and then proving stuff and then having experiences myself and then coming on to believing everything because everything has happened to me. So keep all those comments to yourself. If you do leave them, I'm not going to reply. So I will see you next time with probably a topic on spiritual growth. I have a list of topics that I am going to share with you, so stay tuned on this channel. Subscribe if you haven't, and hit the like button to let YouTube know that you like this type of content, so that the YouTube can push this content to other people who also like this content, and together we make this community wider, where people learn and grow and support each other through unconventional experiences. So I will see you next time and have a wonderful rest of your day.